I was 14 when I picked up a knife. All I needed was a hug. I didn't know how else to cope with the storm of overwhelming emotions building up inside me, or the crushing emptiness when I felt nothing at all. It became my only outlet for everything I couldn't put into words. The scars now scattered across my body were never scratches from a fall or a cat, no matter how many times I said they were. I was 14 and scared to wear shorts, in case they rode up just high enough for someone to notice the thin red lines covering my thighs. I spent my whole summer wearing long clothes in the hot weather, constantly tugging on the fabric, making sure nothing slipped. I was 14 the first time someone asked me about them. It was just a careless passing comment, like they didn't even know what they were asking. I tried to laugh it off and blamed my cat. I was 14 and being questioned by the counselors because somebody told the school about me. I remember sitting in that small office with my arms folded over my chest so tight I couldn't breathe. I tried to tell them I was fine, but I couldn't hide the warm tears that slid down my cheeks. After that, I became more careful. I stopped trusting my friends. I smiled and laughed when I was supposed to. I had built this perfect little world to hide in. Because what if someone broke my trust again, used my words against me? What if I ended up back in that small, cold office, being asked questions I couldn't answer? I built walls because I was scared. And even now, I still struggle letting people in. I had perfected the role that nobody knew I was playing. Hiding behind the mask of a smiling face, I became the version of myself that felt safest. Somebody cheerful, put together, and totally fine. But always careful to cover the parts of me that might give something away. At night, when the lights were out and no one was watching, the act would slip. I'd lie awake, staring at my ceiling for hours, or scrolling endlessly through my phone as I replayed every interaction from the day. Did I roll my sleeves too high? Did somebody notice me flinch when my clothes brushed my skin the wrong way? The panic of accidentally exposing myself never left. Even though I wore the mask flawlessly, the weight of the performance never got any lighter, only heavier with time. Some nights, I would silently wish someone would see through it, that they'd notice the cracks, ask the right questions, and not let me dodge them. But at the same time, the thought of being truly seen, of someone knowing, was terrifying. So I kept performing, kept holding it together, and kept convincing myself that if I stayed strong just a little bit longer, one day that pain might quietly disappear. I was 15 when I moved to Bali. It was my fresh start, a place nobody knew me, a place I could build the walls higher and keep hidden what I didn't want seen. But over time, the friends I made here began to notice the newer scars that I couldn't always hide beneath my bikinis. They didn't buy the cat story. They didn't let me brush it off when they asked. They cared. And they kept asking until I was ready to talk. My healing didn't come in some big, dramatic realization. It came in the little things. The stolen glances of concern from across the room, the way they stayed by my side, and the way life slowly felt less heavy. One night, 5 of us were crammed into my bathroom, singing and laughing like only teenage girls can. I sneezed, realized I got my period, jumped up and ripped off my pants to save them from the blood. Everyone else had doubled over laughing, trying to clean up the mess as I crouched in my undies, waiting for somebody to get off the toilet. In the middle of the chaos, my friend Keegan noticed the marks on my legs. I gave her my usual excuse, and she didn't press. Not then. But later that night, once everything had quieted down, she pulled me aside and asked again. This time I couldn't hide. The tears came before the words could. That moment changed everything. There was no judgment in her eyes, only care and understanding. Keegan and the people that I've met here became the first people I truly opened up to. They didn't let me go back to pretending. And after a particularly hard week for me, they sat me down and helped me take the first step. Therapy. Healing doesn't happen all at once. But now I wasn't trying to do it all alone. As I began to share my story more openly, I learned that speaking honestly about mental health doesn't just help the person listening. It helps the person telling it. A 2024 study done by Cruz, Ramirez, and Martinez found that expressive writing and narrative-based techniques can significantly improve emotional distress and mental clarity, especially in teens facing mental health challenges. Another study by Milne Ives, Meinart, and Shelby explored how digital storytelling in peer support settings can foster connection, emotional healing, and a deeper sense of community. Now, after almost 5 years of struggling, I've found a way to carry this with me. Not in shame, but in strength. I turned the pain that I carried in every part of me into something beautiful that can remind me every day how far I've come. For so long, I thought the scars I had put on my own body were disgusting. I hated every inch of skin that they covered. But I realized I can take the thing that made me feel most broken and turn it into something that would build me back up. I turned my pain into jewelry. Jewelry has always been a language that I spoke fluently. I used to collect bracelets from every place I'd been, tiny wearable memories that helped me hold on to those special moments. It's where I've always gone to express myself, to process what my voice couldn't. Some people dye their hair, get tattoos, or use clothing as their personal outlets. Jewelry has always been mine. So when I finally decided to face what I'd been through, it made sense to turn to the one thing that has always been constant in my life. I told my story for the first time at one of CETA's Firefly Nights. The theme was self-discovery. It was a space for vulnerability, expression, and for me sharing my truth. I nearly backed out right before it started. It felt like too much. It was too raw and too personal to say out loud. But I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. Even if it was uncomfortable, somebody might need to hear it. Standing in front of such a large group of people that I knew was terrifying. I cried, and my voice shook, but I kept going. And afterwards, a couple people came up to me to thank me for telling my story, and they shared parts of their own journeys, some of them for the first time. That quiet connection between us made every second worth it, and it helped push my project in a direction that had meaning. The first piece I designed wasn't just about turning that pain into something pretty. It was a transition. The moment that I decided to stop hiding and start sharing. And what I found in that, speaking so honestly, is that other people started to do the same. It was more than just an accessory. It was a symbol of the strength it takes to be truly seen. The first piece I designed to give me the confidence to speak up became a bridge. A quiet invitation to reflect and feel, and remember we aren't all alone in what we carry. Jewelry has always been more than just something pretty to wear. For thousands of years, people have carved spirals into stone, worn amulets close to their heart, and created objects that mean something when words just weren't enough. In Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Hancock talks about how spiral symbols in old petroglyphs might represent the sun, or the cycle of life. What's wild is that those symbols follow nature's pattern, the Fibonacci sequence, which shows up in everything from seashells to sunflowers, hurricanes to galaxies. That same spiral, also called the golden ratio, has been used in art and architecture for centuries because it just feels right, even if we don't know why. You see it in the Mona Lisa, in temples, mandalas, and mosaics. It's everywhere. And people have always used symbols like that to express things like love, pain, and transformation. Carl Jung even believed that symbols come from something deeply shared and human. I've come to realize that jewelry can do that too. It can mirror the patterns of life, messy, evolving, and always spiraling forwards. Designing my piece was a process in itself. I started by sketching something simple, something raw and honest. I wanted it to reflect my body truthfully. No head, no arms, no legs. Just the core of where the pain lived. I went through several versions, refining the proportions, testing how it would feel to wear, not just how it would look. Once I settled on the final sketch, I worked with a silversmith to bring it to life. We discussed things like textures, finishes, and how the piece would hang against my skin. When the pendant was finally cast in silver, I marked the thighs and shoulders with tiny scars, carefully etched into the metal. Like a soft-spoken truth, barely visible unless you looked up close. It felt so surreal seeing my body and my story go from just a page in my sketchbook to silver. I've been designing a few more pieces recently, each one built around the spiral at the center of the pendant. To me, that spiral represents our individual paths, the way we loop back, fall apart, rebuild, and keep moving forward. Each of the 5 pieces takes on a different shape. And while there is meaning and intention behind every one, I also believe that beauty can speak for itself. Symbolism is subjective, and it doesn't carry the same weight for every person. I wanted these pieces to feel open and accessible. For some people, it might just be something pretty to wear. For others, it might become a symbol, a reminder, or even a step towards healing. Beauty and meaning can live side by side. When I found out that another one of my classmates, Adele, was also focusing on jewelry for her project, we decided to collaborate. Together, we are now setting up a jewelry making studio here at school in the iHub, with the help of Ibu and Dina. So that other students can do the same and be given an outlet to create jewelry that means something. Not just pretty things, but personal, intentional pieces that reflect who they are, what they've been through, and what they're still learning. Others have shared with me how my first piece helped them see their own scars differently. Not as flaws, but as reminders of survival. And now, as I reach the end of this speech, I carry those stories and my own with me. It must sound like I've had this beautiful, healing, transformative year. But I'd be lying if I didn't say this year sucked. I felt trapped in my house. Sometimes it was so bad, I couldn't get myself out of bed for days. I felt myself falling into the same patterns I had tried so hard to escape. I felt like I was drowning under the pressure to perform, to be okay when I knew I wasn't. The need to be productive and make something out of the pain I still don't fully understand. The weight of needing to be perfect suffocates me. At some point, enough is enough, right? But that's the thing about mental health. It doesn't care if your words move people or how powerful your art is. There is always something more going on beneath the surface. I've lived that truth. But I had the opportunity to help one person. Someone who broke down after being asked how their day was, because it was too much to hide. They had just found out somebody that they loved was hurting themselves, and they didn't know how to respond. I sat with them, helped them make sense of it, and explained what that kind of pain can feel like. I'm so grateful that I was able to be there and give them a little bit of understanding that wasn't there before. The universe knew we had to be there at the exact same time. It knew my project has never just been about designing jewelry. It was about connection, healing, and being exactly where I was meant to be. That one moment made all of my struggles throughout the year worth it. That one conversation is all I ever needed. I'm 17 now, and I've started to accept that healing doesn't mean things just stop hurting. I'm 17 now, and I have spent years pretending to be okay while silently falling apart. I'm 17 now, something I couldn't picture at 14 when I didn't believe I'd make it this far. I'm 17 now, and I finally believe that just being alive is enough. If you're interested in buying any of this jewelry, it's currently set up in the bridge with a QR code linked to my WhatsApp. I would really appreciate it if you could take the time during the break to go take a look at it. One moment. Before I leave, I need to take a moment to thank the people who helped me get here, who stood beside me through it all. To Keegan and Kaya, thank you for always being there for me through every high and low. You never left, even when I tried so hard to push you away. Your support means everything to me. To Adele, thank you for helping me create something to better the school. To my mom and dad, thank you for loving me, even when I didn't know how to love myself. To Ibu Jess and Peck Brian, thank you for guiding me through every version of this speech and reminding me that my voice matters. To Nikki, my aunt, thank you for always helping me through the hard stuff, and for showing up when I needed it most. To Iba and Dina and the iHub team, thank you for helping us bring the jewelry studio to life and for believing in the vision behind it. To Iba Kate and Pac Benjamin, thank you for being there through every Greenstone breakdown and breakthrough. To Nate, thank you for putting up with all of my mood swings, grounding me, and for loving me through it all. And finally, to Masha, my therapist. Thank you for helping me face the things I never thought I could. I wouldn't be standing here without any of you. Thank you.